The Eagles have a lot of problems. But I'm here to tell you, they're all fixable. They're all self-inflicted issues. They're all fixable. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into this Eagles-Bears game a little bit. That'll be happening on Friday, Black Friday. We'll talk about that. We got Sixers. Sixers question of the day. Are they wasting Tyrese Maxey's career? And there's a Phillies rumor for a new position player that they might be involved in the trade talks with, Ketel Marte. Do you want to make that kind of a big swing this offseason, Phillies fans? We got lots to talk about on this Thanksgiving Eve, guys. Trending in the AM, we're live with your thoughts and opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube and Twitter, wherever you're watching this, live right now or on replay later today. Please hit that like button. Please share this show out on all your social media platforms and subscribe. Starting today at 884 subscribers, a mere 16 from 900, guys. Let's get there by tomorrow. So like, share, subscribe, and, of course, drop your questions and your thoughts and your opinions on the Eagles, the Sixers, the Phillies. This show is about you. Even if you're watching on replay, I check all comments, and I will respond to all comments, guys. And YouTube, it's the only place where you can vote on the poll question of the day. Today's poll question, not Eagles-related, it's Sixers-related. Are the Philadelphia 76ers wasting Tyrese Maxey and his career? Yes, no. Who cares about the Sixers, and who is Tyrese Maxey? They're your four poll options. Today, please vote on that. I'd greatly appreciate it. Got a little frustrated last night with that Sixers game. So we're going to get into the Sixers a little bit today and the Phillies today. The debut of the Phillies Hit and Run, the newest podcast on this channel. I dropped a quick little 6-minute hitter yesterday afternoon on the Ketel Marte trade rumors that the Phillies may be in on. So we're going to get into that a little bit as well. Take some of your opinions on these rumors with the Phillies and what the story of this offseason is going to be like. But let's start with the Eagles. Let's start with some of the comments that are rolling in. The Eagles' problems so far. What really is plaguing this Eagles team, despite being 8-3? The issues that they're facing outside of injuries, and some of the injuries aren't as bad as we thought, as we got word yesterday that Blankenship will be playing on Black Friday. So it's just one safety that we're down. A majority of the issues that the Philadelphia Eagles are facing are very, very simple. They're fixable. They're self-inflicted. They're issues that are fundamental that can be fixed with just a little bit more focus, a little less distractions. And after thinking and contemplating and prepping for this show, I feel even less worried about the Eagles than I have before. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? Yes, it's all fixable if the person who should be fixing sees it as a problem. I think that's fair. I think that's a very fair statement. From pressers, neither the problem solver or the person above him sees what is happening as a problem. I don't know if they don't think there's a problem. I just think the way they're wording it in the media becomes perceived that there's no problem. Good morning, Robert. Hope you are doing well on this Thanksgiving Eve. Love Thanksgiving Eve. The rumor also saying we aren't even close to Schwarber. Yes, there is a rumor that the Phillies and Kyle Schwarber are very far apart on years and dollars. That same report then follows it up saying they fully expect the Phillies and Kyle Schwarber to get a deal done. I'd be shocked if Kyle Schwarber is not on this team next year. Not saying I would give him the money. I'm not saying I wouldn't give him the money. I'm just saying I'd be shocked if he is not here. He's one of your big ticket, items And I'd be shocked if he doesn't stay. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Yes, go Birds. I have to admit, hit and run is better than my recommendation for dinger and stinger. Yeah, I want to be able to keep it short most of the time, kind of like the check down. So I also got a Sixers one coming up. I just haven't come up with that first short video, but I want to also be able to leave it longer episodes as well. If I want to do like pre-recorded interviews, I can use hit and run for that. Came up with the logo and everything myself. I was pretty impressed with myself. Just signed Real Muto already. He's best catcher on the open market. Quit farting around. The question, Rick, with JT Real Muto in the Phillies offseason, really, it's the same thing with Kyle Schwarber, except Kyle Schwarber is obviously going to command, because the seasons recently has had a lot of money. JT Real Muto, it comes down to how bad does he want to be here and stay in Philadelphia? Because I think the Phillies have one big issue, and the Ketel Marte trade rumors lead into the Schwarber, the Real Muto, free agency things. It's the age of this team. I want JT Real Muto to return. But what's the max you're going to give him? Is he able to command more than a 3-year deal on the open market? I don't want to sign Kyle Schwarber to 4 years, or to JT Real Muto to 4 or 5 years. But there might be a team out there willing to overspend for him. And that's the problem. Trading for someone like Ketel Marte, whose current contract, while financially it's a phenomenal deal for whichever team gets him in a trade, but it runs through his 37-year-old age. How many more old players are the Phillies going to keep on their team and bring in? Don't the Phillies need some youth? Don't the Phillies need some young energy on this team? And that's a big sticking point with the entire offseason and whatever the Phillies choose to do. It's the age of these people, these players. I'm a big fan. Good morning, little G. Yes, kick the Bears' butt on Friday. It feels weird saying Friday for a football game. I turned that shit off and watched No Way Out 0-1, just a bunch of chucking threes. Yeah, dude, last night's Sixers game, I put it on, and I was out on that game so quickly. It was so embarrassing. The fact that the fourth quarter started and they were down almost 40, and they still had Tyrese Maxey out there, who's burnt out to begin with. Ridiculous. Andre Drummond did not want to play in that game. He tried to pick a fight with that dude. The dude's like, yo, what the hell? He's like squaring up. Like, it really was the most unwatchable Sixers game of the season. Translate cheesecake, the Cowboys. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, because today's the eve. Used to be. Is it still? Does anybody young watch the show? I don't know. But when I was young, Thanksgiving Eve was the party day of the year. Is it still like that? I mean, my old ass will be in bed by 11 o'clock tonight. The first time Melissa and I hung out, we had met once briefly at a brief moment. The first time we hung out was in a group on Thanksgiving Eve in 2004. Not too concerned about signing Schwarber as long as the signings to replace him are made. Tucker, Alonzo, Bellinger. Well, what about Ketel Marte? He is available at this offseason in a trade from the Diamondbacks. The Phillies are linked. He is signed for 5 more years. The highest I think it's like $98 million over the next 5 years. 2 years ago, he was in 24, number 3 in MVP voting. Dude's a hell of a player. Exactly what this team needs. Plays second base, which is questionable, whether you want to move Stott or not. But again, it's the age of these guys that concerns me. Tucker, I think, is only 29. Bellinger's in his 30s. Alonzo, I'm not even sure what Alonzo's age is, but I'm guessing right around 30. JT is the best catcher for this team, especially. I think he is the best catcher for this team for the next 2 to 3 years. But are you really willing to commit 4 or 5 years, Rick, to JT, which is what it might take to keep him here? Are they keeping Casty or Bohm? You don't hear their names. Casty will be cut most likely. They have been trying to trade Nick Castellanos. No takers with that $20 million contract. They're basically going to have to eat that contract and release him. And I expect them to do that at some point. They're going to wait till January, even if necessary. It's not Ketel, it's Ketel. I even listened to videos to try to get his name down, for sure. The youth for the Phillies will be Friday with Crawford and Miller. And yes, Crawford I fully expect to be on this Phillies roster day one. I don't think they bring up Aiden Miller this year. I think they're going to keep him in AAA for an entire season, which is ridiculous and stupid, but I think that is. The NBA overall is a broken product. Time for a lockout and a major redo. Well, that is coming, Rick. That is without a doubt coming to this NBA for sure. Good morning, Judd. How you doing today? Hope you are well. Thanksgiving games predictions. Why do I have to give them today? Why wouldn't I give them tomorrow on Thanksgiving? Yes, I'll be live for a little bit on Thanksgiving. I'm sure Westchester will be a high school reunion tonight. Oh, absolutely. Do people still, you still live in Westchester. We'll be partying everywhere in the streets, right? I'm too old for that shit. Absolutely, in college, it was the biggest night. Is it still like that? My bar sales are highest of the year on this day every year. So it hasn't changed, Rick. Okay. Maybe I've changed. I've gotten older, but it hasn't changed. It's good to know. My old ass won't be able to do that anymore, though. My old ass doesn't even know. We have a Thanksgiving coming in for the wife and I today. Yeah, look, my wife's already upstairs baking. We're supposed to bring cookies to Thanksgiving dinner. She started at 7:30 in the kitchen this morning. She is probably going to make 3 million cookies today. Let's get the subscriber. She wants a bigger kitchen, so we need more subscribers. I got to start making money. Go get Marte. Hold on. How did he say elephant in the room? I'm supposed to say it. Ketel, not Ketel. Ketel Marte. Go get Marte, and please get Stott out of here. Just so you know, though, because of the amount of people that are going to want Ketel Marte, the price is going to be expensive because of the contract he takes that he has as well. It's going to cost you Stott, which I know you don't care about that. I'd prefer to move Bohm, not Stott, but it's going to cost you Stott. It is going to cost you Andrew Painter, Justin Crawford, or Aiden Miller. And it's going to cost you 3 people, 3 players. The position, Stott, one of your top 3 prospects, and another prospect to get, and Arizona should ask for those guys. So you're willing to give up Stott, Aiden Miller, and I don't know, pick whoever the 5th or 6th prospect in our system is, Gage Wood, who we just drafted. That's what it's going to take. It's a lot for a guy that's 32 on an already aging team, and that's my problem. Dodgers don't worry about age, spend whatever we got to spend, just win. Okay, and I think that's a fair philosophy. I'm so glad we're already off the Eagles and we're talking Phillies. Like, I needed a break. I'm sure we'll talk a lot of Eagles today, because the Eagles issues are fixable. But I'm so glad to spend even 5 minutes talking something other than Eagles, just for a few minutes. How did Phil convince Melissa Toga out with him? He told her he was capo of the Philly Mob. That is not how I did it. I stole her puffy scarf. That's what I did. And then I lied to her. Yes, I started our relationship on theft and lies, just so you know. Absolutely, I'll be in bed by 9. Yeah, well, the Thanksgiving Saturday Night Live rerun special airs every year, and I rewatch it every year at 9 o'clock. Then I'll go to bed after that. I was 76ers get owned by like 40. Was that real game? That was a pathetic game from the Sixers. And I stand by it. Poll question of the day, are the Sixers wasting Maxey? 67% of you have already voted yes, they are wasting him. And I hate it. Hate it. The NBA can't maintain the current salary and rules, players controlling things as they do. I agree. And I've been saying it for over a year now that the NBA and MLB will face huge lockout or work stoppages when their current agreements run out. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And honestly, the MLB work stoppages that we think are going to happen might actually make this offseason easier for the Phillies, because maybe they'll be able to get deals. Maybe some teams will be afraid to give out big contracts to JT or to Schwarber. Maybe. I'll be enjoying some delicious, hazy IPAs at home. Good. At least you don't have to work at the bar. I worked a lot of, before the pizza shops, in a lot of restaurants and bars, and I hated working the big party days. I really did. Really did. You'd be shocked at how much growth Aiden Miller has experienced. That kid is as ready as cross. Oh, I agree with you, Nooms. I watched some of his games at the end of the season. Or not some of his entire games, but some of his plate appearances. Absolutely agree with you. Okay? But the Phillies don't see it that way, Nooms. The Phillies don't see that they need to take a step back by calling up Painter, Crawford, and Miller, second one, and inject some youth into this team. They're going to be rumored to the 32-year-olds. They're going to be rumored to bring in the big names because they're trying to win a certain way instead of taking a chance on these young kids in the minors and letting them develop. Wife is making tiramisu and pasta salad for the part. Yesterday, she did all the prep and pasta salad yesterday, then tiramisu today. Cool. Wife's making ricotta cookies, chocolate chip cookies, God knows what other cookies. We literally were at Walmart yesterday for an hour, spent $100 on groceries, most of which are for the cookies. Whoever we have to give up, bring in Martell's, according to Adam. Look, I agree, but I also don't agree. I think Ketel Marte, perfect for this Phillies lineup. A near 300 hitter, 370 OPS, 900 OPS, power, gap power, great defensive second baseman. Would be ecstatic to have him in our lineup. But for 5 more years? In 5 years, you go trade for Ketel Marte. In 5 years, you're going to have like 6 regulars at 37, 38 years old on this team. And it'll be bad. And if you don't win a World Series, that's a big problem. Gobble, gobble. Yeah, basically. If Aiden Miller isn't on the active roster by September, it's because he didn't light it up in AAA. I think he gets a clear path to make his debut this year if he starts this year as he finished it last. See, the thing is, I think he should be a clear path to start right from day one. I'm trading Bohm and putting him at third base day one. He can't be a worse defender at third base than Bohm, right? He can't be any worse consistency-wise at the plate than Bohm. So why not? Why not just give him a shot? Bohm's a letdown every year, especially in the playoffs. Time to move on. That's just me. So you started dating your wife in the most South Philly way possible, theft and lies. Absolutely. We hung out, big group of us on Thanksgiving Eve in 2004, went back to her condo, all of us were partying there after the bars closed, and she had this big, like, Hulk Hogan-esque type, scarf thingy with frills on it and all, and I stole it. And I left a note on her fridge. You want your scarf back, you got to call me. And then I called her and said, yo, I'm at Duffer's, and my plans got canceled at the last second. I got this beer sitting here. You should come drink it with me. Nobody. I had no plans. That was just the way I got her to go out. And then she tells me I tried to murder her on her first date because we went to a movie, and a car was coming across the parking lot. I reached my arm out to stop and grab. And instead of protecting her, I hit her from her back and almost pushed her out into traffic. The Oubre injury is completely paralyzing the Sixers' ability to defend bigger guards and forwards. Kelly Oubre was playing great before he got hurt, and yes, him not being out there is a major issue. VJ Edgecombe not being out there is a major issue. Who cares about Paul George? Who cares about Joel Embiid? Let them go away for the year. I don't care. But all I'm watching the NBC telecast last night, they keep talking about Maxey's smile and Maxey's energy. They're wasting it. By having George and having Joel on this roster, it's a problem. It's a big problem. Who gets fired first, Kevin Patullo or Nick Nurse? Does either of them get fired? That's the question. I could see them making a change with Patullo if it's a disaster on Friday. But I doubt they fire him. Nick Nurse, it would take a whole bunch of Sixers March. I don't even think Daryl Morey thinks there's an issue to fire Nick Nurse. I don't know. Unless we miss the playoffs, I don't see Patullo being fired. Now, Patullo will be in my opinion, Patullo's going to be the offensive coordinator next year probably. Not saying I want him to, but I don't see that change happening. And Dodgers have an endless supply of good prospects. If you can't sign JT, then you will need to maybe check out Dalton Rushing. You don't want to waste this staff, but it sucks to be in purgatory now. Phillies are in purgatory, and I don't think people realize that. He's more likely offered a head coach position than fired. Probably, and he's not doing that. No, I am not. I like how Miss S was probably like, I'm going to have to buy a new scarf then. Probably what went through her head. Absolutely. It's even worse. I did try to pull a Frank Costanza, and it backfired, and she hasn't let me live that down. I don't think calling up Miller and Painter is considered a step back, specifically Miller, who can already provide more defense than Bohm or Kemp. I think Miller's bat has more potential as well. And you know, I know Andrew Painter did not have a stellar season last year in AAA. But he was first full year coming back from Tommy John surgery. I think the talent is still there with Andrew Painter. I think he should be the number 5 guy in the rotation, no questions asked. There is some Drummond guy that is ridiculous big. Andre Drummond just didn't want to play. Nobody else wanted to play. Andrew Drummond was trying to get kicked out of the game last night. But that Magic player wasn't taking the bait and did not want to fight him. And he's just like Drummond went like this. And the other guy's like, yeah, didn't back off, didn't go forward. Just like, yo, bro, what are you doing? Nurse goes first. I think Nurse almost got fired last season. Nurse should have gotten fired. So should Daryl Morey have gotten fired in the offseason. They didn't. And here we are, stuck with the same old song and dance. If they lose Friday, Patullo is gone, and they will move in from him and give quarterback a chance. Look, I don't know if this will backfire on me saying this, but I don't think Kevin Patullo, while Kevin Patullo is not properly qualified and hasn't been good, how can you properly evaluate an offensive coordinator that in 11 games has had his starting offensive line twice, and in 11 games, his offensive line has been the worst it's been in 10 years? All right? The injuries, the guys playing injured, the guys that have been injured, the guys that have missed halves of games, whole games. How can we properly evaluate Kevin Patullo when the most important thing on offense is your offensive line integrity? And the offensive line has been bad. Okay? Penalties, mainly from the offensive line, excessive. We are the 7th most penalized team, 2nd in the NFL in penalty differential, 2nd in penalty yard differential. Team worse than us, the Chicago Bears. There are going to be a lot of penalties on Sunday or on Friday. I'm going to throw another name out there with the offensive line. TJ Paganotti, okay? He was Jeff Stoutland's assistant O-line coach, okay? And the run game specialist last year. TJ left to be the offensive line coach for Kellen Moore in New Orleans. Kind of flown under the radar, an assistant, just like we're going to lose Hunt and or Parker from Vic Fangio's staff this offseason. We lost part of Stoutland's staff last offseason. Probably a problem. So how can we properly evaluate Kevin Patullo when the offensive line is just trash? Surprisingly, Chicago and Philly have the same size media market. We just have to watch the game so the NFL doesn't rip us off. Yeah. We are so smack dab in the middle of purgatory like the Red Sox when Dombrowski got dismissed. At least he got a World Series there. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think steps back are needed. Okay? I'm not a Morey guy, but his drafting prowess is a rarity, and I'm not sure you can replace that with another GM. I think he might be the best drafting GM in the NBA. I mean, Maxey, McCain, VJ Edgecombe. I mean, that says it all. Taking VJ Edgecombe over Ace Bailey. Absolutely. We shit Cam Johnson with the 8th best offense in the NFL in 23. Patullo hasn't even performed even close to that. Accurate. I started doing it. The Eagles' offense this year now is the 24th total ranked offense, 17th in points per game. Okay? And we're going up against another offense that's top 10. The Packers were, the Lions were, the Cowboys were, and now the Bears are. 8th ranked points per game, 6 total yards per game, the Bears offense. The Eagles are not prepared in all aspects, not just on the offense. Okay? Patullo's job is to prepare his team. They are not prepared. And I can't disagree with you on that. But again, how prepared can you be when you're constantly trying to pivot because you don't have Lane Johnson or Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens or all 3 of them out there at times? It's a problem. It's an issue. Phillies won't get Marte or Ketel Marte, whatever. I don't know if they will or not. It's going to be extremely expensive to get him, trade-wise, okay? And I don't think it's likely. I think it's intriguing, though. The potential. Patullo runs a good high school offense. He's way out of his league in the NFL. I don't know how he got that job. Well, we all know how he got his job. He was best buddies with the guy picking the coach. Your starting catcher will be Marshawn, and backup will be Stubbs. Your DH will be Weston Wilson. Going to be a bad offseason. Mark, why would you bring so much negativity to the chat on Thanksgiving Eve? That would be brutal. There's no way that's going to be the way this offseason goes. No way. Okay? Marshawn and Stubbs will not be your two catchers. If they lose JT, they will find somebody else. No doubt about it. Weston Wilson will not be the starting DH unless there's an injury on day one. Guarantee you're wrong on that. What I've read about Painter's season is that his stuff still looked really good, and the command was all right. It was just his fastball got hit because it was a little flat, still high 90s. Yeah, I think he was just working on things. He knew by a certain point this season he wasn't getting the call up. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to work on my mechanics, work on my stuff, and see what works and doesn't work. Andrew Painter should be starting day one. Well, game 5. Technically, Morey's president of basketball operations. Yeah, I know the technicality. Just like Dave Dombrowski isn't the GM of the Phillies. He's the head of baseball operations. He's the president or whatever. What's his name? Sam Fold or Fraud or whatever his name is technically the GM. I told you about Paganotti last year and how it would be a loss. TJ was one of the most silent heroes. Those dudes really respect it. He will eventually be an O-line. I think he is the O-line coach for the Saints. He left to go under Kellen Moore there. I'm assuming that's what he went to be, for sure. And he's young. He's in his 30s as well. But that's the job. OC is to make those corrections. Tons of teams have similar issues who have performed better with less talent. I agree. Issues are O-line banged up and not performing. Barkley has spent inability to run the ball has wreaked havoc on their game plan. All accurate, Mark. All accurate. 100% accurate. Okay? And that's why I can't fully, Kevin Patullo's got to figure out a way to pivot from what they want to do. He's got to figure out a way to get the blocking in check. I get all that. But the O-line, you can't properly evaluate Patullo when the offensive line is as bad as it is. Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is a problem too. As a comparison, Kenny Gainwell is having a better season than Saquon. Saquon's like the 27th ranked running back in football now in like efficiency and stuff like that. He's having a terrible season. No doubt about it. And yet they won't give Tank Bigsby the ball. And that's on Patullo. That's on Nick Sirianni. That's on your run game specialist, Jeff Stoutland. Since he had his 100-yard game, he's had 8 carries in 3 weeks. He had 1 carry. He was on the field, Tank Bigsby, for 3 plays with 1 touch last week. That's just not good enough. And I'm not saying Tank Bigsby's a great running back. But you got somebody that's been effective, and you're choosing. You're making a conscious effort not to use him. I don't think it's a given Marte is traded at all. But if he is, I think we got a decent shot at him, and that's because of Stott, who was good value in the trade market. But my question with Marte isn't whether he's a good player, isn't whether we've got a shot at him. It's whether you want another 32-year-old player that'll be 37, 38 years old when his career's over in Philly. Do you want another mid-30s player on this roster when you already got Nola, you already got Harper, you already got Turner, who are going to be 38, 40 years old when their contracts are up? In a couple of years, this team will get real old, real fast. Last night was a scheduled loss for the Sixers because of all the injuries. Yeah, it's almost like you put Doc Rivers out there again. But the Eagles can run the ball with Tank to the outside, which they don't do. Tank running to the outside will open up the middle. Absolutely. And that is the biggest criticism, if I have one, for Kevin Patullo, is like there are pivots like Tank Bigsby that can fix things, and they're not doing it. And that, to me, is my biggest complaint at this point, is that they've got an opportunity to do something different, and they're not. And that frustrates me. Good. Mark, Jeff Stoutland should be getting more and more heat. The gold jacket I was ready to give him. He does not deserve it at this point. The entire coaching staff on offense and head coach is malpractice. Barney be full, but Tank be ready to eat. Barkley be full. Gotcha. O'Doyle rules. I'd go three-headed monster, Barkley, Shipley, Bigsby. Rotating them in and out would give them a rushing game they desire. And it would keep the defense guessing, right? You want to keep a defense guessing. Right now, it's predictable. It's obvious, right? All right? Marte would have been more valuable to the Phillies in 23. He killed us in that NLCS. He did. He absolutely did. A Billy Madison reference as far superior film when compared to Ridley Scott's Napoleon. Every film is, right? If you were Howie Roseman, what would you do with Sirianni? He's the only coach that will do whatever you say, but he doesn't know how to call plays or a good offensive coordinator. Look, if I was Howie Roseman, I would pick his offensive coordinator and let him keep going. You go out and find an offensive coordinator, whoever it may be, maybe Stefanski. He might be out in Cleveland here very soon. You go get an offensive coordinator. It's going to take 3 or 4 years before he's going to have a shot at a head coach job. You go get the Vic Fangio of the offense. All right? A no-nonsense, pull-no-punches guy. And you lock him up. The age is why I was leaning towards Pete Alonso. How old is Pete Alonso? I'm not even sure off the top of my head. Yes, Painter lost movement on his fastball, but his curveball command suffered until maybe the last 5 starts of the year. I have no fear, no worry in Andrew Painter being an MLB starter next year. Shipley is mid. I mean, maybe. We don't know. They should have Bigsby and Barkley on the field at the same time. They did that 3-4 weeks ago effectively. It didn't happen once to my knowledge last week. Why? I mean, he was on the field for 3 whole plays. Touched the ball 1 time. Meanwhile, Xavier Gibson had more touches in the game, who's now injured. Billy Madison is starkly more correct than probably, because everything is, right? 100% we should be going three-headed monster a la 2003, Staley, Buckholder, and Westbrook. It was a great time with the three-headed monster. And Staley still ate plenty. Still got plenty of yards, right? The Phillies will not win a World Series with an old team. No, they won't. And that's why I bring up the Marte thing. It's so intriguing, Robert. But on the flip side, it brings that fear that we're already far too old of a team. Do you think they might be giving Barkley so many snaps to try and make up for missing the single-season record? No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. Not at all. They gave Barkley the unnecessary extension in the offseason to make up for that. That's an extension that might bite us in the ass if he doesn't rebound next year. But I think that's how they made up for those things. I think Shipley's good. Still hate the conservative running. Yeah, look. They talk a lot about identity. And I forget which beat reporter said this in a post yesterday. They talked a lot about identity and pressers yesterday. The identity of this team is it should be a passing team, probably. Weirdly, they're a better pass blocking team than run blocking team this year. You've got the weapons. Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback, and they still keep relying on this run game that's just not working. Earth, Wind, and Fire, yeah. Staley, Buckholder, and Westbrook. It's not common for a guy as big as Painter to have such a repeatable delivery, which is one of the reasons I'm still sky high on. If anybody is not sky high on Andrew Painter, you're ridiculously nuts. Or Bell, Biv DeVoe, what? Gint, what's happening, my man? Congrats. Thank you very much. Who knows what's next? I don't. A little DoorDash and a lot of podcasting for the next month and a half. Let's see what 2026 brings. I'm leaving all options on the table. All options on the table for 2026. But that's a great opportunity for me to reset, guys, if you haven't. 14 people have. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this out, guys. Keep it going. Keep it moving. Barkley had most touches ever in 24, and it accelerated losing tread on those tires. Running backs have a short shelf life. Barkley could fall off cliff fast. Absolutely. We spent the all offseason talking about that, Mark. And we shouldn't be shocked. But how much of the fall off the cliff that we've seen from Saquon Barkley is the tread on the tires, but how much is it the offensive line? And we've talked about it a lot, especially recently on this show, that we always think about Christian McCaffrey, any big running back over the last couple decades that has a huge season. Then they fall off the next, right? We never talk about the wear and tear that those kind of seasons have on the offensive line. And Jordan Mailata has brought that up at times this year. The wear and tear affected them too, along with injuries. Phils don't have that fundamentally sound, heady player in the field like Miguel Rojas, except maybe Stott. Everyone else aside from Harper and JT just don't have it on the field. Well, I mean, Harper, I think, is a pretty damn good first baseman. Is he fundamentally sound? I don't know. But he does a damn good job at first base, in my opinion. Stott's a great defensive second baseman, but Marte's no slouch either. I think he only had like 5 errors last year, which is very good. So I don't think if you traded Stott for Marte, it would be a loss. Defensively speaking, it would just make you older. Robert, I tried to tease a little A.J. Brown drama. I did earlier this week, but I don't think people wanted to go for it, so we let it go. We let it stay as it is. Leaving it alone, ignoring it. It's good, though. It's good to move off of A.J. Brown drama. I'm trying to stay away from drama as much as possible, to be brutally honest with you. I don't want to have drama in life or in on these shows. How many more years does Barkley have before he retires? I'm not sure. You might see Barkley only get a year or two more. And this might just be who Barkley is. But that means the offensive game plan, the offensive coach needs to figure out a different game plan because you just can't feed it to Barkley 20 times a game up the middle. But again, just like I say, you can't fully evaluate Kevin Patullo because of the offensive line, because of the penalties. You can't fully evaluate Saquon Barkley for those same reasons. We're moving on up on the like button. Good. Let's get those likes up, those subscriber numbers up, those share numbers up. Let's go. It's been a very interesting little start today's show through 38 minutes. Talking all kinds of things here. AJ who? You notice he got his number and shut the F up. No shame in the loss, just glory for the individual warrior. Look, I tried to go this route earlier in the week. Nobody bit on my comments, okay? Nobody bit on it. That he seemed awfully too happy and giddy in a loss. Miserable in the wins, but giddy in the loss. And it kind of annoys me. It doesn't just kind of annoy me. It really annoys me. But we're going to ignore the drama. We are. We're going to forget about that, okay? The best we can. So you like that stoking the AJ drama when there is no drama to have. So you like the look, there's drama there. Just because he had a big game, I don't think he's happy. All right? I still think he wants out. I do. I still think AJ wants out of here. I'm not saying I want him out of here. I'm not saying I would move on from him necessarily. You lose A.J. Brown, you ain't replacing him that easy. But I've been saying, even before the drama started, that at some point, A.J. Brown was going to get traded. Why? Because it's a business. Why? Because you have $200 million spent on offense, and there's a shit ton of guys on defense that are going to need to get paid soon. Quinion Mitchell, Cooper Dejean in a couple years, Jalen Carter this offseason, Jordan Davis eventually, Nakobe Dean. I mean, Vic Fangio spoke yesterday about how you're going to see less and less of Jihaad Campbell because Nakobe Dean's playing that damn well. Nakobe Dean played 84% of defensive snaps on Sunday. Jihaad Campbell, 11 snaps, 15%. All these guys got to get paid on defense. Where's that money coming from? The offensive side of the ball. So Howie Roseman's going to have to make a tough call. A.J. Brown seems like the obvious tough call to make. And you can split up the cap hit if you make the trade a post-June 1st designation. Do I want to trade A.J. Brown? No. But if you can get a first-round pick for A.J. Brown, you do it. Because you free up all that cap space to give Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean their money. You just got to do it. Then let him get his number and take for as much as we can from the next team. Yeah, him having good games does help build that trade value up. Him having good games and then being happy in the locker room builds that trade value back up. I mean, honestly, if he continued to sulk all season and then tries to force his way out, teams are not going to give us what we want. We got to make him desirable again. You got to put a little makeup on him. Robert, you're not wrong. And I think this is the number one issue facing the Eagles team right now. Well, 1A, 1B being penalties. When was the last time we had a winning Eagles team this undisciplined in the penalty department? All right? Like the offensive line injuries and the offensive line penalties, they're killing us. Multiple false starts a game, multiple holding calls a game. We didn't have an ineligible man downfield last week, but we did have a illegal formation last week from the offensive line. What are the odds we have Maxey, McCain, Oubre, Paul George, Joe, VJ, Grimes healthy for even 5 games a season? I'll set the I'm going to give you 100-1 odds, and I don't even know if that's even high enough. Paul George was probable to play, and then 5 seconds before the game, I've got an ankle injury. He just didn't want to play. Joel Embiid, when you listen to Nick Nurse before the game yesterday, didn't it sound like Joel Embiid was on his way to playing last night, then all of a sudden didn't play? Who knows what the F's going on there? Oubre's killing them, not being out there. 2020, we had a lack of discipline and O-line injuries out the ass. Yeah, it wasn't 2020. That was what was the name? Brown, the dude that was stopped in the middle of a play to fix his gloves, and Carson Wentz got obliterated on that play. I think that year, no lie, we had 13 different starting offensive line configurations. It was like 12, 13, 14, somewhere in that range. But this team is actually winning games, unlike 2020. 2020 was the bridge to Jalen Hurts, the bridge to the current era. Now, I don't think 2025 is going to fall apart like 2020. But we'll see. What's up, Rob? How you doing? Morning and happy holidays to you. Season ticket holder for the Sixers last couple of years, but I can't take them serious. It's not a serious team. It's become comical. Yes, and, obviously I got the poll question, is Tyrese Maxey being wasted here? I almost want to say hashtag free Maxey, right? But you watch the game, and you can't even blame the players on the court last night. When so many players just didn't feel like playing, like Paul George and Joel Embiid. Like they were literally right there, ready to play last night. And then at the last second, they backed out. If I was Tyrese Maxey, I'd be pissed off about what's around me. He still puts that smile on and goes out there every day. And I don't know how he does it. So you're saying O-line injuries are the end of coaching careers in Philadelphia. Is that what you're saying? Well, the O-line better get their shit together if they don't want to lose their man, Nick Sirianni. That would be crazy if Nick Sirianni got fired 1 year after winning a Super Bowl. That would be literally the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I don't think it's going to happen, just so you know. And guys, if you haven't, hit that like button, subscribe button, share button. We're up to 25 votes on the poll. So that means when I refresh this screen, there should be 25 likes, but I guarantee there won't be. So guys, make sure you're hitting all those buttons on the screen. We are at 21 likes. Okay, so at least we're close. We're close to the number of votes and likes at the same time. Anyway, we got lots on the table here today. We're talking Eagles, but we're also talking Sixers, and we're talking Phillies here. And back to the Eagles for a second. It was so where you get nothing. You get nothing from Nick Sirianni. Vic Fangio is very open and adamant. you will get Reed Blankenship on Friday. The walkthrough. So there was no practice yesterday. Adoree Jackson would have participated. So he's not in concussion protocol. So those two guys should be good, right? To go. He did say Sidney Brown's practiced well. Sidney Brown will be starting, right? So you got that. And he said Michael Carter's name a lot yesterday, Vic Fangio, that Carter could play safety. He could play in the slot if Cooper Dejean goes to the outside. Poor Jacorian Bennett, man. I don't know what kind of doghouse he got into with Vic Fangio, but the dude can't see the field. But it looks like our secondary, outside of Drew Mukuba, will be good to go for Friday's game. Doug Peterson was fired after the 2020 season. 2012 was Foles' rookie season. Got the hell beat out of him. Yeah, I was kind of shocked that Foles had the year he did under Chip Kelly because his rookie year wasn't that special. Everyone was geeked out for last night's game until the injury report came out and slammed our fan. Yeah, I think they only did that to sell tickets. Right? Everybody's going to play, and then not play. The Sixers just need to start over through the draft and be bad for a few years and hope the picks hit. Yeah, I mean, you can't do that, though, Rob. Until you get rid of Joel Embiid and Paul George's contracts, you can't even start over. I mean, the only way you really start over now is you trade Tyrese Maxey for a crap ton of picks. And honestly, I've suggested it before. You're wasting them, you might as well. Not enough impressions? I mean, do you need me to do impressions? My impressions are not that good. I could do John Wayne at the first Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, pilgrims. That's about it. That's all I got. Bills signed Brandon Cooks. Cool. I mean, Brandon Cooks is washed. The Bills are washed. I don't care about the Bills. Brandon Cooks is not saving the Bills' season, not even in the least bit. Am I wrong? Is there a team Cooks hasn't played for? Has he played for the Eagles? I don't think he's played for the Eagles. And that's about it. Classic cutaway, right? Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Anyway. Continuing on. We will get guys back for this week. The one thing, we bitched a lot about Xavier Gipson and the punt fumble on him on Sunday and his bad job. We talked about his fumble numbers yesterday, or maybe we didn't talk about him yesterday. 38 career touches, 12 fumbles. Well, supposedly he's got an injury, okay? A shoulder injury. So he won't be playing on Sunday, or Friday. Whether he gets cut or gets IR'd, I don't know, okay? But who's going to be returning punts? It probably will be Dotson. But what do we got to do to get Britton Covey called up to return some punts? The Eagles were better with Britton Covey than without him, right? Less drama with him than without him. Maybe it's Kenny Gainwell and Britton Covey not being on the active roster for the Eagles that's been holding this team back. Now we want me to do Clint Eastwood. Do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you? That's it. I think the Thanksgiving Phil is going to be a grump. No. I love Thanksgiving. I can't wait for Thanksgiving dinner. Go to my sister's house, hang out with our kids. Have a great day. The huge Thanksgiving guy. Huge Thanksgiving guy. We all know the play calling stinks, but the truth is until the offensive line figures it out, not much is going to change. And that's what I've said a bunch, Rob. Like, you can go get any consultant in the goddamn world. You can fire Patullo and make anybody the play caller. I don't care who. It don't matter. If you're not blocking, what are you going to do? If your offensive line stinks, what are you going to do? The fall from grace of this Eagles offensive line, mainly because of injuries, some because of the wear and tear of last year, is holding this team back 100 times more than what Kevin Patullo is doing. Kevin Patullo's biggest flaw is he hasn't figured out the answer to mask the offensive line problems. And there's got to be a way to mask the problems. I just don't know it. And he definitely doesn't know it. I'm shocked they haven't given Britton Covey a chance. What's that say about Britton Covey that no teams tried to poach him from our practice squad? I don't know. Special teams has not been good this year. It's another fundamentally flawed issue on this team that does not get the hype or the discussion it needs. All because of a couple blocked field goals. We're all in love with special teams, but special teams has been bad overall. Eagles need to draft nothing but O-linemen and a cornerback too with their first few picks. Got to revamp. O-line, maybe a safety. Defensive line help. You still need more depth and youth on there. You're probably going to need a wide receiver early in the draft. To be honest with you, Rob. You're going to need a tight end in the draft. We got used to our O-line being abnormally healthy, right? We also got used to Howie Roseman drafting blue-chip prospects in the first and second round, right? The last 2 years, he's drafted nothing but 6th and 7th round offensive linemen. The talent level from the top to the bottom of the draft in the offensive line is massively different. Okay? Drafting Landon Dickerson versus Holland Pierces or whoever. Big difference, right? We need a blue chip. And I think Howie Roseman saw this coming. He wanted Bow or what was the other guy that I wanted? There were a couple guards and tackles that I wanted in the second and third round that he just missed out on. I think he misread the room on the draft and missed out on a couple guys. That is an overstatement. Our O-line went from being top 5 to middle of the road. He doesn't have the skills to deal with the bad situations. I mean, short, quick passes, tank to the outside, more motion. I don't know if we're even middle of the road. We're middle of the road at best, honestly. Just read A.J. Brown said he's taking the blame for the loss to the Cowboys. I didn't hear him say that, but maybe he did. More RPOs. These are the tools. Yeah, Stoutland U has become a community college, right? You can't even get you can only get your associate's degree now. You can't even get your bachelor's at Stoutland U. Which starter on the O-line is not starter worthy? They're all starter worthy, right? Maybe Fred Johnson right now. But they're not healthy. They're not. Fred Johnson's probably the only 100% healthy starter and Tyler Steen on the offensive line. Not surprising considering the current administration defunding of higher education. Got you. There we go, getting a little political in the chat. They can address safety and free agency. Maybe. They might be able to. Seriously rubbed me the wrong way yesterday. I told my son how lucky he was to see Joe, Maxey, Oubre, and VG together for $20 in the preseason. Yeah. Like how much? Like, does anybody believe that the Sixers did not mess with the injury report just to sell tickets last night? It was a national game, NBA Cup game. I spent 5 minutes trying to explain the NBA Cup to my wife, and her response was, well, then what's the point? Like, they literally tried to sell that stadium out for the national spotlight game. And then they just got the ticket sales up and said, nah, nobody's playing. Ridiculous. Steen was never a guard. He was strictly a left tackle. Look, I think Tyler Steen deserves zero criticism. Tyler Steen, all things considered, has been the most consistent offensive lineman this year. Has he been great? No. Has he been bad? No. He's just consistently going out there and doing his job. He's consistently going out there with a different center and a different right tackle every other play and just holding his own. Safety is an issue. It is. And that brings up the common topic on Twitter. Oh, let's go get Justin Simmons. Be on the phone in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Justin Simmons hasn't played a snap this year in the NFL. Justin Simmons hasn't practiced a snap in the NFL. Hasn't even been on a team's practice squad. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's been on 47 teams this year, and Justin Simmons is still out there. If anybody says Justin Simmons is the answer, you don't know football. And I hate that phrase, but you don't. It was scary when Reed Blankenship went out. But it seems like he's going to be good to go, which is a blessing. Steen has been playing solid. Yes, he got beat like a kid in a schoolyard by a top-tier tackle of Williams. Yeah, I mean, he got beat occasionally throughout the season. But I don't put any blame on Steen. Steen's doing the best he can. Left out in college. In the NFL, a lot of them transition to guard. That does happen a lot. What's up, Tatsuya? The NBA Cup with the weird colored basketball courts makes my eyes bleed. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I tried. She's like, well, what is this NBA Cup? And I tried to explain it to her last night. And she's like, so what's the point of it? And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, then why do they do it? And I'm like, I don't know. It was ridiculous. Steen was left tackle in high school. Okay. The glazing of Pierce and APR was pretty humorous back in April, though. Pierce has concrete feet, and APR just isn't quick or strong enough. All these guys were supposed to be the next answer, the next coming. They've done nothing. People tell me Pierce was Lane Johnson's replacement. People tell me APR was going to have double-digit sacks this year for the Eagles. It's comical. Cam Jurgens has not been good. I don't know if it's because of injuries. I think it's a combination of injuries and other stuff. But I think he's ranked the third worst center in all of football this year, depending on which analytics site you go to. Like, Cam Jurgens has been really bad. But he was injured in the Super Bowl and playing through it. And playing through that, I think Noom said it yesterday or a couple days ago, that Cam Jurgens playing through injuries last year might be why he's struggling this year with injuries and performance. But he hasn't gotten better. He is mid. Maybe you're right, K1, right? But his mid performance is better than the majority of what we've seen from the rest of the offensive line. Safety is always an issue. Be careful on the roads tomorrow. Drunk driving season. Absolutely. Shouldn't have to tell people not to drink and drive, but don't. Don't drink and drive. Steen is a solid backup. He's not Becton. See, here's the thing, and this was the point last year. And I said Becton was a huge loss because you had Becton performing at a great level last year. But when someone got injured, you had Steen who could play guard, who could play tackle, right? You had 6 starting offensive linemen last year. This year you got 5, and a lot of injuries piling up. But I like Pierce. I think he can make it. Maybe 5 years from now, they did the same thing with Andrew Bynum, held him out, and he never played. Yeah. They teased him, maybe getting close a few times, right? Jurgens could have been Toth last game. Yeah. We can't even get Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson hasn't dressed but 2 games this year. Him and Mac McWilliams. Look, we can criticize Kevin Patullo all we want. And I'm not asking for Nick Sirianni to be fired. I'm also not asking for Howie Roseman to be fired. But Howie Roseman missed more than he hit. His batting average this offseason was not the best of his career. Missed on draft picks, missed on free agent signings, and missed on extensions. Steen has been by far the most dependable. I think that's a good choice of words. Not solid, not average, not good, not mid. Dependable. Okay? 100% the better choice of words than what I've been using. Becton was a left tackle in high school, college, and the Jets. Stoutland converted him to guard. Stoutland U is Stoutland Community College right now. Just Stoutland hasn't been elite. Maybe it's because of TJ Pagnotti leaving for New Orleans. His best assistant no longer here, and all of a sudden, Stoutland U is falling apart. There's got to be something to that, right? There's got to be something to that. Why not? Why is that not a part of it? I don't know. It is what it is. But you can't fully evaluate anything about this team because of the offensive line, because of the injuries. There's so much dysfunction. I don't think any team has actually beat us this year. Our 3 losses, we've beaten ourselves in every one of those games because of carelessness, because of fundamentals. We love to blame the coaches in this town. Maybe it's just some of these guys are getting older and not quite as good as they once were. It happens. I agree. And the older you get, the more injury prone you become, Rob, right? You look at Lane Johnson. Is Lane Johnson just becoming Jason Peters? Constantly injured, constantly banged up? Maybe. Landon Dickerson. I don't think he's going to have this long, drawn-out 20-year NFL career because he's getting banged up way too quick. I mean, Landon Dickerson, had an injury issue in college too. But isn't that still coaching evaluations of their players, of where their players are? Sure. I think that's more of the evaluation process also on the GM. Look, Howie Roseman deserves blame. For sure. On the downfalls of the season. $100% does. Wanted Howie Roseman to draft Tyler Lindenbaum in 22. A perennial all-pro that never misses games. Howie went cheap and drafted Juergens. Look, so I wanted Lindenbaum, and there was another center the next year or 2 years later. He had 3-letter initials like JPJ or JCJ or something like that, or JCP. I forget who it was. There were 2 centers that went in the first round over a 2-year span that I wanted. And Cam Juergens was playing great guard football too before he got moved over to center. I said, get a center and leave Juergens at guard. Duck, I have a conversation with Ron Hinson, and you may change your mind about Pierce. Yeah, I don't know enough, but all I know is everybody was hyping him up. Look, the Eagles have played a lot of football over the last few years. It takes a toll on these guys, and you're seeing it this year. Yeah, look, that's why dynasties really, truly don't happen in the NFL, right? It's very hard, near impossible to win back-to-back Super Bowls for a reason, right? Doesn't mean the Eagles aren't going to make the playoffs. The Eagles are still going to make the playoffs. Just means they might not make it to the finals. And you know what? I'm good. I'm happy still. We do have that Super Bowl trophy to lean in on. I'm content with the Eagles. It's 9 o'clock, guys. It's the top of the hour. You're watching Trend in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share this out, vote on the poll question. 28 votes in so far in the poll. Yes is 68%. Are the Sixers wasting Maxey's career? No got 18%. I'm kind of shocked about that. I want to know why 18% of the people don't think we're wasting Tyrese Maxey right now. 7% said who cares about the Sixers, and 7% said who's Maxey. I don't know, Phil. The Giants kicked our ass the first time around. That wasn't us. You know what? No, you're right in saying that, and I've brought that up before. You're right. We got our asses just straight whooped that week, plain and simple. This is also one of those interesting parity years in the NFL. It is. It's absolutely. Fortunately, we have a ton of draft capital and money to revamp and retool. Draft capital, yes. We don't have a ton of money, to be honest with you, Rob, because of certain guys that need extensions. Because Jalen Carter's going to get paid. Because Nolan Smith might need to get paid. Jordan Davis might need to get paid. Eventually, Q and Coop are going to need to get paid. Because of the great defensive young players that Howie Roseman's drafted, the money's questionable. The situation's questionable there. I trust Howie to figure it out, but there's a questionable thing with money there, right? We do have draft capital. And if we trade A.J. Brown, we'll have even more draft capital, right? So I don't worry about that either. But yeah, there's a lot of revamping. You're going to have to get younger on the offensive line. Absolutely. Only time we root for the Chiefs is against the Cowboys. Now, I'm going to root for another tie. We'll give you my Thursday, Thanksgiving Day picks tomorrow. I might not go live at 8 tomorrow. Maybe I'll go live at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Maybe we'll do about an hour tomorrow morning, maybe. But you know Roseman is going to move some of those guys to free up money. Absolutely is. It's really going to be interesting. Ron Hinson was Jihaad Campbell's coach at Timber Creek before poached him from there for South Jersey Connects. Yeah, I don't even know who he is. I don't know what Timber Creek is. I don't. But I think the Jihaad Campbell story, and I love that you bring his name in. I mentioned him and Nakobe Dean early in the show. I think it's crazy. I think it's such an interesting and intriguing story, the Jihaad Campbell story. Losing snaps to Nakobe Dean and Vic Fangio being blatantly honest that he's going to continue to lose even more snaps to Nakobe Dean. What do we make of the Nakobe Dean Jihaad Campbell situation? What do the Eagles do with this situation? They kind of got to re-sign Nakobe Dean, right? You can't trade Jihaad Campbell yet, can you? They have a plethora of linebackers now. And I don't know what you do there. It's really crazy to think about. What's up, Chet in the chat? Yes, shameless plug. Philly Press Box Radio this evening, 7 p.m. Big Al Zafiri back on the show with Chet and Bill Furman. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Chet. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It's Thanksgiving Eve, the party day of the year. And I'm not going to be partying. Not in the least bit. I'll probably be asleep by 10:30 tonight. I won't lie. But Big Al Zafiri back on the air right here live, 7 p.m. Philly Press Box Radio, Chet and Bill Furman. And I'm sure Chet and company will talk about how great pumpkin pie is. And I'll make sure I remind them how pumpkin pie is the worst of all pies. Okay? Campbell did his job early in the year, and it's his turn to sit back, watch, and learn. I agree. But the question isn't what he does this year. The question is, what do the Eagles do with the linebacker position going forward? Right? You can't just let Nakobe Dean walk away for nothing. You can't trade Jihaad Campbell and give up on all that potential. Do they find a way to move on from Zach Bond eventually? I don't know. I think it's a really, really intriguing story that I'm going to be curious how it plays out over the next year. Like the good old days. Like the good old days, the good old boys. Good morning, Susan. How you doing today? Hope you are well. Guys, we're still going strong here this morning. Viewership is starting to tick back up this morning as more people check into the show late. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing. And drop your comments. There's up to 16 people watching now. 29 votes, 24 likes on the video, guys. We're talking Eagles. We got the Phillies on the docket today. We spent a lot of time talking Ketel Marte rumors, okay? And Kyle Schwarber rumors. And JT Realmuto rumors, okay? We're talking all of them, okay? They're all on the table. Sixers wasting Maxey's career, embarrassing themselves to the fan base. Has there been a sports team in Philly that has cared less about their fans as much as the Sixers do right now? The organization. The players care about the fans, I think, still. The organization doesn't care. Really interesting. Just made 6 of my famous pumpkin pies last night. Blech, blech, blech. Make me yak right now. Pumpkin pie is probably the worst thing, dessert-wise, known to man. Hashtag sign JT. And again, I'll bring it up again. Chat with Rick about it earlier in the show. I want JT back. The question is, are you willing to go past 3 years to re-sign him? Will any team go past 3 years to re-sign him? 2, 3 years? The dollars don't matter. It's 4 years or more. And I think there's enough dumb teams out there that see the value of JT with their pitching staffs that they might take a risk on a 4-year JT Realmuto contract. And I don't know if I do that. Keep it going up, up and up, up and up. What is my favorite pie? At Thanksgiving time, it's apple pie. I am a huge key lime pie guy. Apple pie is great. They're pretty much the only 2 pies I really, truly like. Stop, Bum, Casty, all got to go. No need to rebuild, but definitely got to retool. Got to keep JT first and foremost, give him 4 years. You're willing to go to 4 years on him? Wow. That's a huge risk, Rick. Huge, huge risk right there. Okay? I say Stott or Bohm, one or the other. Casty is that. I already consider Castellanos as gone. Okay? I already feel like he's not on this team. Okay? Sixers gave us a Wisconsin blow dryer. I don't know what that is. That might be very dirty. I'm not sure. I'm eating my pork. Yeah. Make me yak right now. Here. Oh, man. Apple pie is the best for sure. I love a good warm apple pie, a little whipped cream, or a little dollop of ice cream on it. Got to. Kylie pie rules. What? One time I ate 3 bowls of oatmeal thinking it was healthy. Turns out even oatmeal can betray you if you've got the diabetes. What's up, Wilford Bremley? Hope you have a great Thanksgiving from the other side. All Susan cares about is Kyle Schwarber. Now, the reports that bring up Kyle Schwarber are that the Phillies and Kyle Schwarber's representation are far apart, dollars and years. but the same reports follow up with that they still expect him to stay here in Philly. I really, truly think Schwarber will be here. But I also think if he does not stay here, it's not as big of a loss as other people realize because of the years, because of the dollars. Bohm, because of attitude and inconsistency, Stott could have a role. Yeah. The thing is, if you trade for Ketel Marte, you're probably giving up Stott in that deal. I'd be okay with Stott and Bohm both gone. But if I had to keep one, I'd prefer Stott over Bohm. Bohm, I think we know what he is. He is what he is. Bohm is not going to grow and mature as a player anymore. Key lime pie is great. Nothing better than a key lime pie on Duval Street in Key West. Oh, I love it. They do these little dipped in chocolate, like the ganache chocolate key lime pies. Oh, I mean, that's diabetes on a stick right there. JT is an athlete with superior genetics from generations ago. Maybe. Schwarber's probably not getting 5,200. I think there's a chance a team might go 5 years, 150, 5 years, 155. There's a chance. And if I'm him, and I'm going to take that chance. I think Kyle Schwarber can be a Jim Thome type signing for another team, like the Pirates, who he's been rumored to be going to, like the Cincinnati Reds, kind of like a changing of tides. Look, we are willing to spend money. This is a turning the page for our organization, our franchise. I think Schwarber can have that kind of impact like Jim Thome did here with another city. Stott going to be a career 245 hitter that doesn't come up big in big spots. He's a great defensive second baseman. I think he could be better than a 245 hitter. Not much better, but I think he could be solid. No franchise quarterback has to go through so many offensive coordinators like Hurts. Eagles need to pick between Sirianni and Hurts. His offensive philosophy just doesn't work with Hurts. Look, the first part, no franchise quarterback ever goes through the OCs like Hurts does. And it's a challenge. And Jalen Hurts admits it's a challenge, learning new things every single year. He's admitted it. He admitted it yesterday. I don't think you need to choose between Sirianni and Hurts. You just got to find an offensive coordinator that's going to stick here for more than 1 year. Think about it. The last time Jalen Hurts had the same coordinator back-to-back years, we went to Super Bowl in 2022. Stike in 21, Stike in 22. So consistency is important. See, Robert, I think pumpkin everything is terrible. Pumpkin coffee, pumpkin beer, pumpkin pie, just pumpkins in general. Bohm could benefit from having a different hitting philosophy that will not just happen here. Yeah, he needs to be kind of grounded a little bit, Bohm. Sent to cast off somewhere if necessary. I like Kyle Schwarber more than Harper for some reason. I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't get it. I shouldn't say that. I mean, I think that's a take. Harper's more emotional, wears his emotions on his sleeve. Schwarber's a little bit more laid back attitude-wise. I don't know. I just think they're two totally different personalities. I think Harper's the better player overall. Always here for pie talk? Hey, gotta love a good slice of pie, right? Good piece of pie. Who doesn't? I mean, it's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is about turkey and pie. Is Kevin Long going to help this lineup after keeping him? Kevin Long, if you weren't firing Rob Thompson, you should have fired Kevin Long. It is an absurd thought to think if Eagles take an early exit in the playoffs, the Eagles would consider trading Hurts to Pittsburgh and handing the keys over to Tanner McKee. Oh, is it? Yes, it's a completely crazy thought. There's no way they move on from Jalen Hurts. Okay? None whatsoever. Okay? There is a thought that maybe they trade Tanner McKee to Pittsburgh. Tanner McKee is going to be a well-sought-after trade commodity this offseason. Guarantee it. Especially if, what's his name, the Manning kid doesn't go into the draft. Okay? There's going to be at least a half a dozen teams calling Howie on Tanner McKee. They will not. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts will be here forever. For sure, 100%. I want him to be. I love him. Okay? But they're not moving off of Jalen Hurts anytime soon. He wasn't last year better. No, I know. And the injuries and the age and the wear and tear might be catching up to Harper. He may have already peaked, like Dave Dombrowski said. But we'll see. Stott kept his job all these years because his family is friends with the Harper family. Yes, there is that aspect of the Phillies in general, that this team is made in his likeness or his philosophy. You don't want a player dictating so much on the way you build your roster, especially in baseball. Especially in baseball. Maybe the Harper style of, hey, I want these guys works in some sports, but it definitely doesn't work in baseball. Okay? Not even in the least bit. And that's a problem, right? What if Tanner McKee sucks as starting quarterback after teams get a good scouting report on him? What if? That's why you trade him before you find out. I really, truly think you could get a first-round pick for Tanner McKee this offseason. Not a high-end first-round pick, a back-end first-round pick. Or a conditional first-round pick. I really think you could get that. Let me look at this. The teams, Pittsburgh might be one of those teams, okay? The Jets, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, maybe Tennessee, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Falcons for sure, the Saints, obviously, maybe Minnesota. All those teams might be willing to give you a first-round pick for Tanner McKee. Harp's love for Hoffman didn't allow him to stick around. I think there's a lot of injury issues there as well. Reports of certain contracts being taken off of the table by multiple teams because of arm concerns from medical. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Robert. Here to go clean my house. Good luck with that. Thank you very much. We're going to do a show tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll definitely do a show tomorrow. Might not start till 9 a.m. Sleep a little bit later tomorrow. And it might only be like an hour long, but we'll try to go live tomorrow for Thanksgiving. Vikings, yeah, I mean, the Vikings might need him. They're saying Michael Penix might be out all of next year with the Falcons, so they might have to move on from him. He's already an older young starting quarterback. The Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, just stinks. I told everybody. Moving on from Sam Darnold for J.J. McCarthy was a bad idea. What about Ranger Suarez? All right. So my takes on Ranger Suarez, Susan, since you're newer to the show, so you probably haven't heard me talk about it, is love Ranger Suarez. I think Ranger Suarez is a great pitcher. But you can't sign another pitcher to another big-time contract in Philly. You got a lot of money committed to Wheeler, Nola. You already got Christopher Sanchez. Luzardo's going to have to get paid. The money that Ranger Suarez is going to command in the open market, you just can't give it to him. He's going to get a 5-year, $125 million deal somewhere. His body is not going to hold up for 5 years. He's already got trouble holding up to the rigmarole of an MLB season. I walk on Ranger Suarez. Easier than any of the other free agents to let go. Ranger Suarez is easy to let go. Love the guy. Huge part of this team over the last 4 years. But I'm not giving another starting pitcher 5 years and $100+ million. Just not doing it. DJ, there is that. Yep, DJ is there. What? Has Hurts reached his ceiling here? Meaning, will he win more Super Bowls? Yeah, I think he definitely could still win more Super Bowls. The window is not closing on the Eagles. The fact that I got to answer, has he? This tells me that you always say don't panic. This is a panic type comment, okay? We don't need to panic on Jalen Hurts, okay? We don't. McCarthy, I was never high on. I didn't understand that pick. Maybe improves. Yeah, I didn't understand it. Never did. Yankees or Dodgers probably signed Suarez. Somebody's going to pay him 5 years. It was like right after the Phillies got knocked out, there was an article written up about I forget who wrote it and on what website, about other lefties at his age with his success rate, the contracts that they signed. They're all 5 years, 120. Like they project him 5 years, 125 million. You just can't do that. That's unfortunate. Keep Nolan, trade Ranger, but you can't trade Ranger. He's a free agent, but yeah, you got Nola still. I expect a rebound from Aaron Nola next year. The core of this Phillies team has been together for 5+ years. They aren't going to win the playoffs. It's time for a rebuild. It's tough to rebuild, though. They got to commit to youth, for sure. Look, you should know by now that I'm a Jalen Hurts believer. I think Jalen Hurts wins multiple Super Bowls in his career. Okay, not one, multiple. He's not a one-hit wonder, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has faced so much adversity in his life, football-wise, on the field, in the locker room. He's never going to be satisfied until he's considered the great with the greats. And to do that, he's got to win multiple Super Bowls. And I have all the faith in that. That's why I'm so okay with trading. I know the value of a backup quarterback is important in the NFL. Look at all the teams using backups right now. Some of them using their third strings right now, right? Ranger is fortunate to be left-handed. He is, and he's going to get paid because of that. McCarthy wasn't even that good at Michigan. Minnesota dropped the ball. I've been saying that since the second they let him go. Okay? Do I give fantasy football advice? Start said, I can. I absolutely can. I'm in first place in my main fantasy league right now. So if you got him, I don't have a box score up, so I don't know who's playing who right now. But if you got questions, I'll give you answers. I used to host a fantasy football show, straight up just fantasy football. Maybe I should bring that back. Maybe it's too late in the season to bring that back, but maybe I'll do some fantasy football starting now that I got all this free time on my hands. Hurts win the Super Bowl this season, in your honest opinion? See, the thing is, it's not does Hurts win the Super Bowl. It's do the Eagles win the Super Bowl. And I am concerned about the Eagles can't win the Super Bowl this year with the offensive line performing at the level that they're performing at. If they could get to the playoffs and get the line healthy, absolutely. I think the Eagles can surprise teams in the playoffs if they get healthy. Okay? Yeah, we're all always here at court. What's it say? Country Boy Jazz? Country Boy Jazz. We love to give fantasy football advice. I love it. 12-man PPR flex. Start who? All right, I'm just reading it. Purdy, Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey. So you want me to build your entire lineup this week? You don't have just one question. You want me to build your lineup for you this week? Well, obviously CMC is the starter. Jones is Jones healthy? I don't know. Olave got to be start. Diggs probably. Tight ends Barner, Waller, Rams, Packers. I see there's way too many things here. Packers are going to the Lions, so I'll probably start the Rams D. Let me see who the Rams are playing. Rams are playing the Panthers. Yeah, I'm definitely playing the Rams D this week for sure. Mahomes against the Cowboys. Who does Purdy and the 49ers play? They play the Browns, who do have a good defense. It is in Cleveland. I probably start Purdy over Mahomes, which is crazy. CMC is a lock to play. Jones is a lock to play. Jones is a lock to play if he's healthy. That's the problem, though. Olave, you got to play no matter what. Your wide receivers are definitely your weak links. I actually started Jawan Jennings this past week in my league, and I won by a good 30 points. Tight end, man, that's tough. That's a tough tight end situation there. Saving grace for the Birds this year is the complete lack of dominant teams this year, but the Rams are stacked. Yeah. Godwin is the other. Godwin's never healthy this year. That's all good. Yeah, you got to go like starter this player or that player. Individual questions make it a little easier to figure out. But you're saying, I know it's hard to say bench Mahomes. The Cowboys defense is getting healthy and playing well. I missed the Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving with John Madden and Pat Summerall. Arguably, in my opinion, the greatest announcing duo of all time is John Madden and Pat Summerall. Pat Summerall was a great golf announcer as well back in the day. Eagles beat the Rams after being beat down 26 points. So there's that. Look, the Eagles have the Rams number. If the Eagles face the Rams in the playoffs, I feel good about it because we seem to know how to beat. You know, we always talked about like the Bucs had our number. We've changed that this year. But, you know, you always fear the Bucs as the Eagles because Todd Bowles has Hurts' number, right? Well, it seems the Eagles have the Rams number, which makes me feel good about that potential matchup come playoff time. There is zero chance in my mind that the Eagles don't make the playoffs. Eagles beat KC and KC, so there's that. KC's just not that good this year, are they? What's wrong? We talk about the Eagles. Is KC panicking like Philly is? Are they saying we got to trade Mahomes or fire Andy Reid? Probably not. Hurts is the company man. Yes, man. He knows the offense can't thrive changing the OC every year, but he won't rattle the boat. Look, and that's okay that he won't rattle the boat. He is a company man. He is, absolutely. And you can't. Nothing you said here is wrong. But I also don't think anything you said here is bad. They lost this past week, though, right? They beat Indy, 2 weeks ago? 3? Look, I'm still not sold on Indianapolis Colts, Rick. I'm not. At least I'm not sold on them being Super Bowl contenders. Yeah, they're going to make the playoffs. Yeah, they're going to win their division most likely. But I'm not sold on them being anything long-term this year. Till you see more from Indiana Jones when it matters in crunch time. What's up? How we doing this morning? Coming in late. We're only 86 minutes into the show today. Eagles beat Packers in Green Bay, giving the Packers their second straight home loss, which ain't easy, so there's that. Look, there's plenty of positives. That's why yesterday I said I'm not panicking with the Eagles. That's why I'm saying today their issues are fixable. Okay? Just think about it for the 100th time. Let me tell you all. So think about it. The teams we've beaten this year. The juggernaut. This is what, our 4th straight week going up against a top 10 offense. The Lions, the Packers, the Cowboys. All top 10 offenses. The schedule the Eagles have had to face this year. Name me another franchise that would be 8-3. With the schedule we faced. Don't fool yourself. Anything is possible for any NFL team. Remember when we beat San Fran 48 and got to 7-2? Yes, then we went 7-9. I know. KC beat Indy 3 days ago. I thought that was 2 weeks ago. I thought KC was coming off a loss. Dude, Rick, I woke up this morning and thought to myself, I can't believe I haven't owned a pizza shop for a week. Like, literally, my mind has been in La La Land for the last 7 days. KC smokes Dallas tomorrow. You'll have to wait till tomorrow to get that prediction from me. You are the only person that calls him Indiana Jones. I know. But it's such an awesome nickname, okay? Going from Daniel Jones or Danny Dimes, talk about the ultimate upgrade nicknames. Danny Dimes to Indiana Jones. 28 likes. Damn, the likes. No new subscribers today, but the likes are flying off the shelf today. We're handing out likes left and right. Eagles beat Detroit and their lights-out offense and supposed best O-line in the league, so there's that. There's so much good. So much good to take from the season. Enjoy that shit, Phil. You're living. Dude, I'm savoring it. I mean, at some point, I'm going to have to get a real job. What that will be, when that will be, I don't know. But I'm enjoying this little, I'm waking up with a smile every single day. I'm getting sleep like I've never gotten before. I'm sleeping straight through the night. Like I already feel like changes in my body from this. And it's only been a week. And it's crazy. Fixable, yes, but time becomes a factor if deep playoff run, aka Super Bowl, is the goal. And none of the wins was convincing to me. It is fixable. And time is a factor. Get healthy and get to the playoffs. That's all that should matter. So remember how to boil a frog. The adage is to start cold and slowly raise the temp. We are the frog and we're slowly starting to boil due to coaching issues. Yeah, I get that. I understand. I think it's a great line, Duck. Eagles went into Tampa and beat them in their house. And they were healthy at that point, Tampa, right? You know, Mike Evans and Godwin were playing in that game, I believe. Tampa's kind of falling apart a little bit. Luckily, their division is trash. And that doesn't affect them, but yeah. So what's on the docket the rest of this week? What are we doing? Remember when Deshaun Jackson had that return and we went 10-4 in 2010? You're just bringing up all the bad memories. I appreciate that, Nooms. His home field advantage definitely lost. For the first round matchup, no, because we will win our division. There's almost a guarantee that we win our division, okay? First off. And we're still in full control of our destiny because we've got these tiebreakers. Beat the Bears, And we've got the tiebreaker over everybody in the conference right now. Eagles went into Minnesota and beat them in their house when Wentz was playing red hot. So there's that. Arguably, the Vikings were a better team with Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy. Negative Nancy Nooms. I don't think he's being negative. I think he's just trying to ground our expectations. Detroit Lions have a tough offensive line. I wouldn't want to be caught in a dark alley with them. They would crush me to a pulp. Yep. No, we have many tiebreakers. Rams need to slip up, though. They do. And they probably will. Handing out likes like Oprah does cards. You get one. You get one. But see, I'm asking for, I need you to give me one. I need everyone to give me a car, right? That's what it's more like, right? All right. We're coming towards the end today. This has been fun. We didn't stick to just Eagles today, which I love. We mixed it up. Tomorrow it's Thanksgiving. Well, I'm going to say 9 a.m., maybe 8:30. We'll see what time I wake up. We'll see what time I stay awake till the night. We'll definitely be live. I'll definitely give you my Thanksgiving game predictions tomorrow. We'll talk Thanksgiving turkey, our favorite appetizers, our favorite entrees, childhood memories. I went down a rabbit hole looking up my old street, my grandma's old street on Zillow last night, and all the houses around it and what they look like now. I went down that rabbit hole. So memories around Thanksgiving are always huge. So we'll definitely have some fun tomorrow on the show. Thanksgiving movies. Are there really that many Thanksgiving movies? Eagles didn't have any problem with Detroit's O-line. Goff was scared to death. He was. I mean, our defensive line. Where was that defensive line against the Cowboys, though? Flyers hockey. We got Flyers hockey action, yo. What up? Is it What Up Wednesday? It is. What up? You watching Stranger Things? No. I'm going to do my best to boycott it as best as I can. Because it's been over 2 years, and I don't remember a goddamn thing that happened at the end of season 4. Danny B is on the clock. Maybe. It's a lot better for the Eagles than a lot of people think. All the things I just named have happened. Yeah, I get it. But they still need to get the fact that they could be better. Okay? But it doesn't come out till 8. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't care. I'm so over it. So over it. Another great show. Post Fox's Pizza owner. Yeah, no longer the Fox's Pizza owner. You know, not at all. Love it. Such a happy person, Adam, right now. I'm not completely over the burnout, but I'm starting to feel a little bit more and more like I'm over the burnout every day. A little bit better every day. Anyway, with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Back tomorrow, 8:30, 9 a.m., somewhere around there. The NFL fixed that game against Dallas for the storyline. Maybe, but that's not an excuse to lose the game. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. If you haven't, like, subscribe, share. Let's get this to 900 soon here. 884. We're so close. Let's go. Get those numbers up, guys. Stay tuned. More stuff coming on the channel throughout the day and throughout the week, guys. Have a great Wednesday. If you go out tonight, do not drink and drive, please. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Happy Thanksgiving show. A little gobble, gobble, turkey tomorrow. Go Birds! Bubbles up.